Hey, Light in the Storm family, and the topic of this message is the month of Av, from deepest mourning to highest love. The month we are in now, biblically called Av, the fifth month, and earthly called May, comes with sorrow, and we as believers of Christ Jesus should pray according to this month's purpose to rebuke sorrow from our families, communities, the environment you are in, and more. There is a month on the Hebrew calendar that contains the darkest days in Jewish history, a month when both holy temples were destroyed, a month when 1 million Jews were expelled from Spain, a month that has been called an appointed time for weeping for over 3,000 years. But here is what most people don't know. The same month that begins with the deepest mourning also contains one of the happiest days on the Jewish calendar. The same month that commemorates destruction also celebrates love. The same month that starts with sitting on the floor in ashes ends with dancing in vineyards. I'm talking about the Hebrew month of Av, the fifth month on the biblical calendar. Today, we're going to explore its tragedies, its hidden joys, and its powerful message for anyone who has ever experienced loss. Av is the fifth month of the Hebrew calendar, counting from Nisan, the month of Passover. It usually falls in May. The name Av means father in Hebrew, and the month is often called Menachem Av, the Comforter Father. The prophet Isaiah wrote, "Comfort, comfort my people, says your God." Isaiah 41. In Hebrew, that's Nachum Ami, the Sabbath immediately following the fifth month Av is called Shabbat, Nachum, the Sabbath of comfort. So even the name of the month points us toward hope. The Talmud says, when we enter the month of Av, our joy is diminished. For thousands of years, the first 9 days of Av have been observed as a period of intensifying mourning. The mourning actually begins 3 weeks earlier, on the 17th of April, when the walls of Jerusalem were breached. That period is called the 3 weeks. The first 9 days of Av itself are called the 9 days, and they cum- um, culminate in the most intense fast day of the year. So, what happened on the fifth month? Let me walk you through the tragedies. It all began in the wilderness. Moses sent 12 spies to scout the promised land. 10 came back terrified, saying the giants were too strong. Only Joshua and Caleb trusted God. The people wept that night, and according to tradition, the night was the, the fifth, the ninth of Av. God said, "You have wept without cause. I will give you a reason to weep on this night for generations." On the ninth of Av, 586 BCE, the Babylonians under Nebuchadnezzar burned Solomon's temple to the ground. The Babylonians. The Holy of Holies was consumed by fire. The Jewish people were exiled to Babylon for 70 years. The prophet Jeremiah wrote the book of Lamentations, which we still read on Tisha B'Av today. Incredibly, on the exact same date, the 9th of Av, 70 CE, the Romans under General Titus destroyed the Second Temple. The flames consumed the holy place. The golden menorah was carried to Rome. The Jewish people were scattered across the empire, beginning a nearly 2,000-year exile. 60 years later, the Bar Kokhba rebellion tried to win back Jewish freedom. The last stronghold, Beitar, fell on the 9th of Av. Hundreds of thousands were killed. The survivors were sold into slavery. Rabbi Akiva, who had believed Bar Kokhba was the Messiah, was tortured to death. On the 9th of Av, 1492, King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella signed the Alhambra Decree, expelling all Jews from Spain. Over 200,000 Jews lost their homes, their wealth, and many their lives. The great golden age of Spanish Jewry came to an end. On the 9th of Av, 1914, Germany declared war on Russia, beginning World War I. The war led to the collapse of the empires, the rise of Nazism, and ultimately the Holocaust. The 9th of Av became a calendar of calamities, a day when the universe seems to conspire against the Jewish people. The rabbis of the Talmud ask, why did the temples fall? What was the spiritual cause? The first temple fell because of three cardinal sins: adultery, sexual immortality, and murder. The people had abandoned God entirely. But the second temple was different. The people were observing the commandments. They were studying Torah. They were bringing sacrifices. So why was it destroyed? The Talmud gives a shocking answer. The second temple was destroyed because of baseless hatred, senat, chiam, between Jews. What is baseless hatred? It is hatred without cause. It is holding a grudge when there is no legitimate grievance. It is refusing to see the image of God in someone who disagrees with you. It is factionalism, division, and conflict, not over matters of principle, but over ego, pride, and power. During the Roman siege, Jerusalem was torn apart by civil war. Different Jewish factions fought each other more fiercely than they fought the Romans. They even burned their own food stores to prevent the moderates from making peace. The suffering was intensified by their own hands. The rabbis teach that the third temple will be rebuilt only when baseless hatred is replaced by baseless love. Ahavet Sinam, love without cause, love that sees the image of God in every person, love that forgives before being asked. Now we turn the corner because Have is not only about tragedy. Just 6 days after Tisha B'Av, on the 15th of Av, comes one of the happiest days on the Jewish calendar. To B'Av, the 15th of Av, the Mishnah says, there were no greater holidays for Israel than the 15th of Av and Yom Kippur. On this day, the daughters of Jerusalem would go out in white garments and dance in the vineyards, and the young men would come to find wives. It was a matchmaking holiday, a day of love, of celebration, and new beginnings. Why is To B'Av so happy? The Talmud gives several reasons. First, it was the day when the tribes of Israel were allowed to intermarry, restoring unity to the nation. Second, it was the day when the tribe of Benjamin was remitted to the community after a civil war, healing a terrible wound. Third, it was the day when the generation of wilderness stopped dying. The loss of those condemned to wander finally passed away, and the people could prepare to enter the promised land. To be in the Jewish Valentine's Day, a day to celebrate love, to get married, to dance, to rejoice. The contrast is stunning. Just 6 days earlier, Jews around the world were sitting on the floor, fasting, reading Lamentation by candlelight. Now they are dancing, marrying, celebrating. The month of Av contains both extremes, the deepest mourning and the highest joy. So, what is the message of the month of Av for us today? First, mourning is real, suffering is real, tragedy is real. The ninth of Av reminds us that we live in a broken world. We should not pretend otherwise. It is okay to weep. It is okay to sit on the floor. It is okay to lament. But second, and equally important, mourning is not the end. After the ninth comes the 15th. After destruction comes rebuilding. After exile comes return. After weeping comes dancing. The prophet Zechariah said that the fast of the 4th, 5th, 7th, and 10th month will become festivals of joy and gladness for the house of Judah. Zechariah 8:19. The mourning is real, but it is temporary. The joy is coming, and it will be eternal. So as we enter the month of Av, or any season of mourning in our lives, we do not enter without hope. We enter with the promise that the Comforter, Father, is with us. We enter with the assurance that the same God who allowed the temple to fall is the God who promises to rebuild it. And we enter with a call to action. Replace baseless hatred with baseless love. Forgive those who have hurt you. Reach out to those you have divided from. See the image of God in every person, because the third temple, whether physical or spiritual, will be built on love. That is the month of Av, from ashes to dancing, from mourning to love, from destruction to comfort. If this video blessed you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear that their mourning will be turned to dancing. I'll see you in the next video.